real estate happens at a micro level. The biggest thing is, when are we going to see a crash? A rule of thumb that's always worked for our family was that it wasn't any more than 30% of our gross income. It's always better to buy real estate and wait than to wait to buy real estate.
The first thing I want to ask you is, what really inspired you to get into real estate?
My family, we came from Vietnam, came over here to the States. So we lived in an apartment complex. And then when we were ready to buy a home, we would go look at, homes and new homes. And it always stuck with me, like that feeling. Like it was a really great feeling just to transition from apartment to get a home. And then so that memory always stuck with me. And then during the crash, like fast forward 2008, the crash happened, and everybody was like buying these homes for such a low price. And I was still in college at the time, and I was not taking college seriously. So that memory always stuck with me also because it was an opportunity that was lost.
I want to know. So tell me, how'd you get started? Did you need certs? Did you need licensing classes? Like, what goes into it?
Yeah, so let's see. I tried a bunch of different ways in the beginning. So I took classes in the beginning. I also bought books. And then eventually I just reached out to my friends that did real estate, and they recommended this platform called Prep Agent. And so it's kind of like an online learning platform specifically for real estate. You go on there, it breaks down the different areas in real estate that you have to learn to pass your exam. And then it also has practice exams. So the most value for me came from the practice exams. It did not only tell you that you got it wrong, it told you why you got it wrong and what the right answer was, like the logic behind it. And so that was super valuable.
So you said you got to take some prep work and take an exam, but where is that exam at? Who offers that exam, and how do you register for it?
So you register on DRE, Department of Real Estate, California Department of Real Estate. And then, they book an appointment. You go there in person. They'll give you, a booth and a calculator.
Do you need the classes actually, or is it just the exam? Like if you already knew everything, could you just do the exam and boom, you're good? Or do you got to actually have
I think
certain classes too and pass those as well? And
yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember what those classes are, but you do need classes, and Prep Agent provides you with those classes as well. So you can take those classes online after you pass. I think it's a total of 3. But then, after you pass those classes and you have the credits, then you'll start studying for the exam. And they have like different packages. So if you already have the classes that are requirements that you took at Los Rios or something, or community college, and you just need to study for the exam, then you can do that too.
Now that you got your exam and all that stuff out of the way, how do you go and work with like the loan agents?
Lucky for me, I signed with Keller Williams Elk Grove, so they already have a partnership with a mortgage company. But if they didn't have that, you could build a relationship with your friends that are loan officers, friends that have worked with a loan officer or mortgage company that they really like. And it's always good to have them compete for your company and compare rates, So that's what I would suggest to start off. Yeah.
What would you say are some of the common questions that home buyers would typically ask, whether they're your friends or family? Now, you're the real estate guy now, so everybody's gonna know you like, dang that home, the realtor. So what have you been getting so far as questions that people have been asking you?
I think the biggest thing is, when are we going to see a crash? Prices are way too high right now. When are we going to see a crash, man? But it's like I said, real estate happens at a micro level. And so I've been keeping up with the home prices throughout Sacramento ever since COVID. And a lot of people were waiting for the price to crash. And they have somewhat, it's how you define a crash or correction. Right, a crash could be like 50% plus, corrections like 5-10%, which some people might seem that as kind of normal. But the housing market in Sacramento, from what it seems, has been relatively stable.
I mean, I know a few people that bought their homes, and I'm like, how do you afford it? Even I can't afford it.
Right. And the thing with that too, I just want to bring up during the time when people were kind of buying these homes and refinancing, unlike the crash in 2008, a lot of these people that are doing these transactions, they're doing very solid checks on their financial stability. It wasn't like before where they're just giving out loans. It's the most like secure, financially stable parties that are getting approved. So if people are expecting like a huge crash like 2008, it's I don't know if that's like a
Realistic.
realistic probability. Plus, I know that the government bought a lot of mortgage-backed securities, so
Hmm.
they took on a lot of the risk. Um, so yeah, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out in SAC.
What do you think caused the low inventory to happen? I mean, typically builders are always building.
So I remember looking at one of these charts, and it was showing the amount of new home builds ever since the crash, and so it pretty much slowed up because people didn't want to take that risk, and there was really no point because there was so much inventory at the time. And so new builders, ever since that 2008 crash and forward, they kind of halted building new homes, and so the development of new homes slowed down. Um, like I brought up before, our generation, millennials, they put off on buying their first home. So now there's low demand. It takes a long time to build a home. It's not quick. So they're slowly building it up right now. So yeah, there's low inventory and high demand right now because they kind of not pause but slow down.
What would you recommend for a first time home buyer?
So it really depends on what fits with your budget. Like you have to take a look at how's your career looking like right now. You know, are you do you have dual income? Do you have kids? What are your expenses like? And then look for areas that you see yourself staying at if it's long term, and if you plan to raise kids and have them go to elementary school, like myself, for example, and my wife. We're trying to target an area that has a better school system. So that's why we chose the current area that we're at. So it all depends on the customers, the client's requirements. And if you are unfamiliar with kind of running the numbers, then you can reach out to a real estate agent like myself. Reach out to a loan officer, and they will help you run the numbers. They'll break it down to you how much closing costs will be. Uh, Usually how much property tax will be, pretty much what your expenses for your mortgage will be.
For the people that can't really buy or are looking at buying,
hmm
would you recommend them to buy in this market where you have like 7% interest rates, or would you recommend them to rent and wait?
Yeah, so there's going to be pros and cons always, right? Given the scenario. So right now, interest rates are definitely on the high side. But as the data shows, we compared to last year when the Fed started raising the rates, we have a lower supply. So there's still high demand, and prices are still selling for close to what they were last year. So if you purchase right now, if you are comfortable with the payments, then, and this is a saying, it's always better to buy real estate and wait than to wait to buy real estate.
So, what do you think about down payments and stuff?
Things are kind of different from where they were before. So, for example, let's say pre-COVID, right? Let's say you were to put use a FHA loan. You put like 3.5% down. So you are paying PMI, even though I would talk to a lending consultant how much the PMI actually is, because it might be lower than what you thought it would be because they could restructure your loan. Yeah, there's also a thing called value add. So let's say you didn't put 20% down, but you use all that money to upgrade your house. So you're adding value to the house. So it's going to be higher than what you purchased it for. And so afterwards, when the time is right, if interest rates are where you want them to be, your house is priced at where you want it to be, you could do a refinance. Hopefully the ratio is 80/20, but you could also pull your money back out of it and use that for whatever plans that you want in the future. So that could be an option too.
How do you market yourself and to put yourself out there so that people say, let me call Dang That Home for advice or to be my realtor?
Yeah, so right now, definitely trying to market myself on social media, but I'm trying to provide data, and I'm trying to provide economic news. So on my page right now, I just released some numbers from the inventory, as well as the average home sold price. June of last year compared to June of this year. So just to give you like an idea of where the market's at. Plus, at the same time, I do keep up with um, the Federal Reserve, kind of what Jerome Powell's been doing. So I kind of expressed that on my account too. So they, at the beginning of this whole quantitative tightening cycle, when they were trying to ease inflation, they started to raise the federal funds rate, and so they want to keep their target inflation rate of or get to their target rate of inflation rate of 2% before they decrease the federal funds rate, which impacts the mortgage rate. So when that happens, that you're going to see a shift because everybody's going to be wanting to invest more because there's going to be more liquidity in the market and there's going to be a bigger demand for homes compared to before. So just things like that. I want to be able to provide valuable news and content to the people that follow me.
Is there anything else that would make someone choose you versus a different realtor?
I want to build as many relationships as I can, involving, for example, like contractors. If you ever need contracting work to provide value for your home, I want to build relationships with loan officers who offer the best rates. So just having a well-connected network so that the price that we bid on a home and then the moves that we make after you purchase your home provides a lot of value to you.
So now I want to ask, during the buying and selling process, what are some of the common things that people don't know or should at least look into?
As a real estate agent, you really have to look in the data. So if you list it for way too high, it's going to stay on the market for way too long. And then for the home purchasing process, I would say do a thorough inspection because there are times when people might post like a kitchen area with a rug or something, but they're hiding like a specific um, defective area or something like that. So you want to do your inspection thoroughly and make sure that you have the right inspector give you feedback.
Is there anything in the industry that we haven't brought up that you want to bring up?
I would just say it sounds like in terms of rates, we're about to peak this year from what it sounds like. So I would just keep an eye on that. And then if you're looking to purchase a home as a first-time homeowner or if you're an existing, I would love to work with you. I just don't want to like sell you a home just cause, but I like to learn like what your long-term goals are, your requirements, like if you have kids, how many years you plan to stay, like, what you don't like, your must-haves. So I really want to get to know you and your needs to help you find the right home for you at this time. So that's it.